Hi, and welcome to Noble Character Crafts. My name is Amy, and I'm coming to you from eastern Nebraska, where I live with my husband and our 5 children. Today is Friday, November 7th, 2025. A huge welcome to any new or returning viewers. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you really enjoy this episode. This is a channel all about my crafty life, and today I have knitting and crocheting to share with you all. I will have links to the places that you can find me in the description box below, as well as the show notes for this episode. I am hosting a year-long make-along on Instagram called the Make 9 2025 Mal, and that's for you to join in the Make 9 challenge, where you can choose 9 projects that you want to work on this year, post a grid of those projects to Instagram, and include the hashtag Make 9 2025 Mal. And then anytime that you enter or post a picture of one of your works in progress, or one of your finished objects from your board, then you can also include that hashtag, and then that makes you eligible to win a prize, which I draw periodically throughout the year. All of the prizes that I have to give away today were gifted to me by viewers of this channel, and then I am just gifting them to those of you who are participating in that make-along. So the first prize, today's prizes are pretty good-sized prizes. I decided to give away quite a bit of yarn for each prize just because it seemed to make sense this time. Anyway, so the first prize is 6 skeins of Yarn Bee Color Idol yarn. There's 3 colorways, and there's 2 skeins of each colorway. So the first colorway is called Frosty Mint. Frosty Mint. This yarn is fingering weight, 50% merino wool, 30% nylon, and 20% acrylic. Each of these skeins is 100 grams, and I have used this yarn to make socks before. It also has 415 yards per skein. So this works for knitting socks, but it is not a superwash yarn. So if you make socks with this yarn, you do need to hand wash this yarn. I learned that the hard way because I knitted these yarns into socks and then they felted. Okay, so you get 2 of the Frosty Mint colorway, 2 of the Magenta colorway, and 2 of the L is for Lemon colorway. So 6 skeins total, and the winner of this yarn prize is Jackie at JRandolphIBCLC on Instagram. Congratulations to you. I can't even hold it all. If you and all of the different winners for today's prizes would just send me a direct message on Instagram, including your full name and mailing address, then I will try to get these off in the mail to you as soon as possible. I do just want to mention that the last time I mentioned that I announced winners for prizes was a couple of episodes ago, and it took me forever to get those mailed. In fact, one of them I still haven't mailed. I tried to mail it yesterday, finally, and it was an international package, and I was not at a regular post office. I was at a post office within a grocery store, and they didn't have the right form I needed. So anyway, I just haven't had the opportunity I don't really want to make a special trip to go to town just to mail packages. So I've been of the mindset that I'm just going to mail them whenever I'm in town and the post office is open, but I just haven't been lately. And even yesterday, then I drove by another post office after we were at the grocery store one, but they were closed for their lunch break. So anyway, I will have to try to get that other prize off in the mail at another date. So if you win a prize, it might take me a while to get them in the mail, but I'll do it as soon as it works out. Anyway, the second prize is quite a hodgepodge of goodies. I just have all of these little like single skein. You'll see. I'll go through all the different yarn in this prize. So there are, well, I'll just go through each of them. There's just a large variety. This will be a variety pack. The first one is a cake of yarn by Gypsy Girl Creations. This is 100% merino wool, and it is a fingering weight. The colorway is called Mountain Home, and it is hand painted. It's so beautiful. Then there is a little skein of Knit Picks Galileo in the Comfrey colorway. This is a sport weight, 50% merino wool, 50% viscose from bamboo, and it has 131 yards for 50 grams in this pretty purple color. A yarn from Hobby. It's called Highland Wool, 100% Peruvian wool. And the colorway is just number 13, it says. 50 grams and 191 yards. And this is DK weight. Boy, it sure looks like a fingering weight to me. But it's marked as a class 3 or whatever. It has a number 3 on it, and it says light. And I'm pretty sure that's DK, but 191 yards for 50 grams. Wouldn't it be DK? Would it? I think it's more of a, maybe a heavy fingering, maybe sport weight. But anyway, pretty color. There is another Knit Picks in the Precocia Tonal in the Maritime colorway. This is a single ply, 100% merino wool worsted weight. There are 273 yards for 100 grams. And I think that's all for that one. It's another beautiful blue color. And lastly for this prize pack is this set of yarn from Delicious Yarns. It is called a Gourmet Cowl Kit. It includes 1 mini skein of a Cecil blend, 1 mini skein of a mohair blend, and 1 pattern. So there's this fun nutrition facts label on the back that gives some more details about the yarn inside. And then there's a picture of the cowl. And here are the 2 cakes of yarn included. So quite a variety pack for this prize, and the winner of this one is Christina at Herd of Hills on Instagram. Congratulations to you. I have another variety pack for the next prize. This one is all basically cotton or cotton blend yarns. The first skein is from Cascade Yarns. On the Avalon Multis base, it's 50% cotton, 50% acrylic. And there's 175 yards for 100 grams. It just has a color number 302. It's coming undone. Okay, 1 skein of Knit Picks Cotton in the Hydrangea colorway. And this is 70% Tangus cotton, 30% linen. It's DK weight, 123 yards for 50 grams. 2 skeins of Knit Picks Dishy, which is worsted weight, 100% cotton yarn. There are 190 yards for 100 grams each. We have the colorway Kenai and blue. And lastly for this pack are 4 little skeins from the Sassy Skein. And it says it's the Key West Caribbean Cotton Collection. They're 100% mercerized cotton, 107 yards per skein. And each skein is, it doesn't say how much it is, if it's 50 grams. I assume they're little. I'm pretty sure that would be a 50-gram skein, but it doesn't say from what I can tell. Anyway, there are 4 colorways. We've got Marina Blue. Oh, it says DK on here. It's a DK weight. Marina Blue, Beach Glass, Peacock, and Blue Lagoon. So all of these cotton yarns are going to on Instagram at Wooten6273. So congratulations to you. And again, just let me know on Instagram your mailing information. I have one more prize to give away, but this is for a commenter on my last video. So I do that every once in a while as well. I give away a prize to one of the people that commented on my last video. And this is kind of an interesting prize. This was gifted to me by my cousin for a prize. And it is a kit from the Farmer's Daughter Fibers. And it is a weaving kit. So you get this loom, this wooden loom, and some supplies in here for the kit. And then it also comes with this box of yarns that are like a sampling of yarns that are specifically for the kit. So I don't have information on what these different yarns are, but this one's more like a papery yarn. And then this is a really thick one. And the other ones are more, well, this is a pretty thick one as well, and kind of a marled one. But anyway, just some pretty colors in there to play around with a weaving set. So I hope that the winner of this prize will enjoy this. And the winner is at Eileen K64. You are the winner of this prize. So again, if you are able to contact me through Instagram direct message, that is the best way to get in contact with me. But if you're not on Instagram, then you can send me a message through my email address at noblecharactercrafts@yahoo.com. I'm not great at checking my Yahoo account, so it may take me a little while to get back with you on that email. So direct message on Instagram I tend to see more quickly. So those are all of the winners for today's episode. Thanks again to those viewers who donated prizes to me so that I can then gift them off to other participants in the mail and people that enjoy these videos. I have a few finished objects to share with you all today. The first, I am wearing my Stripe Hype sweater, a design by Veronika Lindberg, also known as Kutavikika. I have been working on this sweater for quite a while. I started it on August 15th and I finished it on October 30th. I used the recommended needles for this project, US 6 4mm needles for the main body of the sweater. And then for the ribbing on the neck and the sleeve cuffs, I used the recommended needles of US 2.5 3mm. And then for the bottom ribbing, I accidentally used a US 3.25mm set of needles, but it worked fine. This sweater is knit from the top down. I used some gifted yarn that was gifted to me by a viewer of this channel named Rachel, and it is dyed by Goosey Fibers on the Goosey Swish base, which is 75% superwash merino wool, 25% nylon. There are 4 colorways that were in that kit that was sent to me. The main color that I used is called Cotton-Headed Ninny-Muggins, and that's that lighter color here. Then the pink color at the top is called Figgy Pudding. The gray speckled color is called Son of a Nutcracker, and the bluish green color down here is called Polar Express. For the sleeve stripes, I also added in 2 more colorways. This tan color is Suburban Stitcher, and that is on the Oslo colorway. Both of the new colors I introduced here on the sleeves were fingering weight, and I just held them double. And then the last color I added in was dyed by Pineapple Yarns in the Land of Sweets colorway. And I'm really happy with how that turned out, adding in those new colors. I made the medium size, and I followed the pattern, I think, pretty well. I didn't make a lot of modifications. I did shorten the bottom ribbing. The original pattern calls for you to make 4 inches. I only made 3 inches. All of the ribbing is half twisted ribbing. I followed the patterning for the sleeves exactly. I think maybe the cuffs I shortened a little bit. And now I'm kind of regretting that because I haven't actually worn this yet. I've just tried it on. And when I stand straight, it's fine. But I find myself wanting to pull on it because now the sleeves are a lot shorter as I'm sitting and moving. They're a lot shorter than what I was thinking they were. I thought they were a great length when I finished it, and now I'm like, oh, maybe they're not. Maybe I should lengthen that cuff. I don't know. I decided to add the blue contrast color on the end of the cuff here. I mean, I could use double the length of the cuff, couldn't I? Which would maybe look a little weird. I don't know. But this is kind of annoying me because I keep finding myself pulling on it. Anyway, I think that I did not follow the recommended size for my bust circumference. I probably should have made a large, but I didn't want it to be that oversized. It still has a lot of positive ease in the, body here. So I'm happy that I went with the medium size. I don't think I would have really loved having an even more oversized sweater than this. I was nervous about the sleeves being short, and then I was so happy because I thought they were fine. But they are a little short, that I'm just now realizing this. So anyway, I'll see about that. I have done that many times before, added length to sleeves. So I could do that, but if I do that, now that I've got that blue in there, I suppose I should rip that out. I think it might look a little funny to have such a long cuff. I don't know. It also might look funny if I added any more stripes. I guess I could add just more stockinette in this color. I do still have some of this yarn left. I was also worried about running out of this main color. I don't have a ton left, but I do have a little bit. This is what I have left over of that main color. So it's not a ton, but it's enough to add some length to the sleeves. So I probably will do that because otherwise this is gonna drive me crazy. Okay, I don't know. Is there any more to say about this? I'm not sure. I'll stand up so you can get a better idea of how it's fitting me otherwise. So it has a nice fit. I'm happy with the length of it in the body here. My natural waist is up here, so it comes down quite a ways. I'm happy with the length of it, I think, and I'm happy with how much positive ease I have throughout the body. So anyway, I think it's good. I'll turn around. The fit, I think, is great, just the sleeve. So see, when I'm standing, when I just first tried it on, I thought the sleeves were a great length, but yeah, like I said, as I'm moving around, I can tell that they're a little bit too short from what I would prefer. So I should probably go back and add length to them, even though I'm really not excited about that, but I will be happy to have a better fitting sleeves on this sweater. But I'm happy with it overall. I think it turned out cute and I like the color combination, and yeah, I think if I do lengthen those sleeves, I'll get a lot of wear out of this sweater. So yeah. My next finished object was a super quick knit. This is a free pattern I found a YouTube tutorial for. It is called the Cozy Baby Cardigan by SeventhSedge. And again, this was a YouTube tutorial. It is knit using, I think the original pattern calls for super bulky yarn. I use some yarn that is labeled as bulky, but I don't know. I'm unsure about this yarn. So the main color that I used is Yarn Bee Cotton XXL in the Almond colorway. It is 100 grams and only 50 yards for 100 grams. And it's labeled as a number 5 bulky. It's 100% cotton, but it's quite a thick yarn. The original pattern calls for you to use much larger needles. I can't remember what she suggested, but I ended up going down to US 10 6mm needles. I'm going off memory now and I can't quite remember. I'm thinking that I had started it. Yes, I had started this and then ripped it out and started it again because I could tell that it was turning out too big and the gauge was too loose. So I ripped it out and started again using US 10 6mm needles. And the pattern on the YouTube tutorial just goes over the directions for a 0 to 3 month sized cardigan. You start with the ribbing at the top and the raglan increases. Once I only had 2 balls of that yarn, and once I separated for the sleeves, then I went ahead and knit the sleeves. I made a modification to the sleeves by adding 3 decrease rounds to the sleeves just to cinch them in a little bit. And I finished both sleeves before I went back to the body. At that point, I didn't have a lot of yarn left. I think I only had 28 grams of yarn left. And so I decided to add in a new color for the rest of the body. And I had another Yarn Bee bulky weight yarn. It's called Yarn Bee Arabella. And it is in the colorway called Leather Bound. It is 55% cotton and 45% acrylic. So these are both Yarn Bee brands, both labeled as bulky weight. But this one, for 100 grams, you get 105 yards. I should have looked at that before adding in this second color, because again, the first time I started knitting it, I was planning on using that second color as well. And I could tell it was knitting up so much thinner than the Almond colorway. So I ended up holding that Arabella yarn double with some cream colored Knit Picks Comfy Sport Weight yarn in the Ivory colorway. That's 75% Pima cotton, 25% acrylic. In hindsight, I wish I would have held the Arabella double with itself, because I think that would have been, especially according to the yardage, it's got twice as much yardage as the Cotton XXL did. So, and you can kind of tell when I started using that yarn, maybe my gauge tightened up a bit and it kind of cinched the bottom of the cardigan in a little bit, but I think it'll still be okay. Anyway, I did just have that little ball of the original color left to finish up the button bands, and that worked out well. It knit up super quickly. It only took me 2 days. So I started it on November 2nd and finished it on November 3rd. I think I shortened the body of the sweater by quite a bit. I only knit 11 rows before I started the ribbing. All of the ribbing is just 1x1 ribbing. And then I didn't pick up quite as many stitches for the button band since I knit a shorter length for the cardigan. But I think it'll be good for a newborn size. It's really, so thick and has a bit of weight to it. It could probably work almost as a jacket for a newborn. There are a couple of ladies at church that are due with babies this month, so that was my motivation for making this quick little baby knit. I had these buttons in my stash and I thought they worked so well with this cardigan. It's just a really cute design, I think, or I think it turned out really cute. So here you can see it opened up. So I hope that that will be useful for a newborn. I'm always a little unsure about the sizing of newborn things. I want it to be wearable. So I don't know, it's kind of hard to know the length and everything to make things so that it will be a good fit for a newborn. But anyway, there's the little cardigan I made, and I still had some of that Arabella yarn left over, so I decided to knit a matching hat. For this hat, I just held the Arabella by itself, and I found another free pattern online. This one was for an Aran weight yarn, and I thought that would be maybe more appropriate for this yarn. I thought this was more of an Aran weight yarn rather than a bulky weight. Anyway, the pattern is called Newborn Baby Beanie by Annanitato Lolo. I started this on November 3rd and finished it on November 4th. I used US 8 5mm needles, and I pretty much followed the pattern. Yeah, I think I followed the pattern for this one completely. For the length of the hat, yeah, I had originally thought maybe I didn't need to make it quite as long, but I started doing the decreases and I could tell it was going to be too short. So I did add some length to it, which I think is according then to the pattern. So I like how the yarn has this type of ombre effect. And so it looks really cute with the cardigan, I think. They both go from dark to light as they go from bottom up. So I think it'll be a cute set. Let's see, I think that's it for this one. That was obviously super quick and easy. I also finished, last time I recorded, I was working on another classic ribbed hat. I have made so many of these. Oh, I think I made, a note of it. This is number 20, the 20th time I've knit this pattern, I believe, if I've counted right. Anyway, this is a free pattern on the Purl Soho website, is designed by Canton. And I used up some DK weight yarn that I had used for several different patterns. And this is Deramores Studio Anti-Pilling DK yarn in the powder colorway. It is 100% acrylic yarn, and I just thought this would make a nice gift knit. I made the adult small size, and I started it on October 6th and finished it on October 31st. I used US 3.25 millimeter needles. And I knit the length to 9.5 inches before I do the decreases at the top of the hat, just to give it some extra length. So there's a nice generous cuff on the brim area here. So that is a nice simple one, and I think the neutral color of this one will make it a great gift or donation for somebody down the road. And I've also made another one that you haven't seen yet. So I also made this classic ribbed hat using some leftover fingering weight yarn held double, and I just marled the colors together. So I actually held this Oslo colorway, what I had left over from this Oslo colorway, throughout the whole hat, and then the other color that I marled with it changed throughout. I really like how this one turned out. It's very, got lots of fall colors in there, I think. I did the same thing though. I knit the adult small using US 3.25 millimeter needles. I started this one on Halloween on October 31st, and I finished it on just this morning on November 7th. And again, I knit it to 9.5 inches before I did the decreasing. I just love the fit of these hats. They really have a great fit because of that ribbing. They will fit a lot of different sized heads, I feel like. It fits my head great, but there is still a little bit of room in here. Not a ton, but a little bit of room. And then I think it would also fit some smaller heads. I am helping out with our church's Christmas pageant, helping out with the music and teaching the kids the songs for the Christmas pageant. And I think last time I counted, I think there's about 17, maybe 18 kids in the program. And I have 11 hats already done. This could be number 12. I'm not counting that one I just showed you because it's not fun enough for a kid. I think this will be a better gift for an adult. But I thought maybe it'd be fun to gift each one of those kids in the program a hat at the end, for a Christmas present, and just to, have a fun prize for them when the program is done. So this one would be number 12, and then I would only need to make 5 or 6 more. So I've got another one on the go, and I've made all of these the same size, adult small, which, the kids range. I think the youngest kid is a 3-year-old, and then it probably goes up to maybe 10 or 11 years old, probably is the oldest. So I think the older kids could definitely use this size. And then if I make maybe 6 or so hats in the kid size for the classic ribbed hat, I don't know. We'll see if I have enough time. I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself, but I do really enjoy making these hats, and I think it would be just a fun gift to give to them. So I'm thinking about making some. I have already started one more in the kid size, and I'm just going to make them, and if I get them done in time to gift them to the kids that are in the Christmas program, that'll be great, but I'm not going to stress about it. I'm going to try not to stress about it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Anyway, so another classic ribbed hat done, and that is number 21 that I have made. I had some leftovers from a few of those projects that I've just showed you, and so I've made some more hair scrunchies using a free pattern called the 20-Minute Scrunchie by Haute Kippy by Bethany, Sypolt. Super easy and quick pattern. I've made 3 here. The first one, I used the Deramores Studio Anti-Pilling yarn that I made the first classic ribbed hat out of. And I only had a little over 8 grams left, and it pretty much used up all of that. I used a 4mm hook, and it's just a super simple pattern that you crochet around a hair tie. And I have made lots of these and really enjoy making them. I made this one on October 31st. And they, of course, just take 20 minutes or less to make these fun and quick scrunchies. And then I made 2 more using up the yarn that I had left over from the cardigan and hat, the baby cardigan and hat set. So I first made this one just using the Arabella yarn, and I like how this one turned out. It's very fun. So this yarn in the cardigan and the hat went through quite a bit of darker colors, but then the skein turned quite light. And then I just had a little bit left over of both of the yarns I used in the cardigan. I had a little bit left over of both of those. I just kind of used up what I had to make this last hair scrunchie, and it turned out really quite big because of that bulky yarn. I mostly used the main color, which was that cotton, Yarn Bee Cotton XXL in the almond colorway, but then I did use a little bit of the Arabella as well, and I ended up holding that double with itself, and it really, the gauge did match much better. So in hindsight, I should have done that for the cardigan as well, but oh well. Anyway, so 3 more scrunchies that I probably will just hang on to for gifts. I think they'll make nice gifts down the road. Okay, my last finished object, I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I think that's it. My last finished object, I showed these mittens off on my last episode that my mom had gotten this basket, which I have another project in right now, but my mom got this basket at an estate sale, and inside were 2 yarn projects. I showed on my last episode that I finished off this panel that was knit up in an orange yarn. Some people commented that maybe they thought it was a panel of an Afghan, but I just bound it off and made it into a scarf, and have been already using it as a scarf, which I think it works great. Anyway, also in that basket were these 2 mittens. This mitten was complete, and this mitten needed a thumb added onto it. So I did that. I was able just to follow the instructions in the free pattern by Tin Can Knits called The World's Simplest Mittens. The stitches that were left for the thumb were the same stitch count as the DK weight pattern for The World's Simplest Mittens. So I just followed their thumb instructions. I held Patton's Croy Socks yarn in the muslin colorway double to try to match it. I think that turned out a little bit thicker, more of a dense fabric than the rest of this mitten, but it works pretty well. And the coloring isn't a perfect match either. This color is a bit lighter than the main color, but it works. And so I am just planning on using these 2 mittens as a pair, even though they don't match. Well, they match in color, but not in pattern. But I'm just going to have these as a pair for our family to grab and, you know, go play out in the snow and things. It won't matter that they're not a perfect matched pair. They're roughly the same size, and I think they'll work great, and at least we can put these knitted items to use. They're definitely made out of, the original yarn is definitely 100% wool. I'm quite confident of that in the way that it feels. So they'll be great snow mittens. I think wool mittens are great in the snow. So I was happy to finish off that, and it only took me like 15 minutes to do that thumb, so that was nice. So those are all of my finished objects. On to my works in progress. My first work in progress I have to share with you is just an update on this new Cozy Memories crochet blanket that I started. And last time I recorded, I had knit the first 2 rows across the top here. I'm sorry, crocheted the first 2 rows, and then I had made 6 squares on this 3rd row. So I put a little bee progress keeper on this 6th one. So I finished off the 6th row. I'm sorry, I finished off the 3rd row and I've started the 4th row. And for this blanket, I just decided I really admire the Cozy Memories blankets, but I don't love knitting blankets, which is kind of funny because I have another work in progress that is a new work in progress that is a knitted blanket, but I'll get into that in a little bit. Anyway, I do prefer to crochet blankets, and I thought it would be fun to try to make a Cozy Memories blanket, but in a crochet. So I'm just doing simple granny squares. I'm using fingering weight yarn, a 2.75 millimeter hook. I am crocheting 5 rounds in a simple granny stitch pattern for each square. And then on that last round, I am joining with a slip stitch to the next square to join them as I go. So you can kind of see that joining stitch on the back side of the blanket. I have made 16 squares across, and that measures 45 inches, I think. Yes, 45 inches across. And if I decide down the road that I want it wider, I can always add onto it because I'm just adding in these yarns randomly using leftover yarn from any project that I finish using fingering weight yarn. So we'll just have a mixture of different colors in this blanket, and I think it is really going to be fun, and I have enjoyed working on this. I don't have any yarn set aside now to add to this at the moment until I finish some more fingering weight projects, but I'll just keep this on the go. As I finish things, I'll try to add in a square if I have enough leftover yarn. That's a really fun project. I started this one on October 1st. I have also shown you before this pair of Christmas socks that I'm holding in this bag that I sewed myself. I am knitting these socks using Stylecraft Head Over Heels yarn in the Comet colorway. This yarn I got as a 3-pack probably 3 years ago would be my guess. I'm not sure. Quite a while ago. I've had this yarn in my stash for a while. And on my last episode, somebody had asked where they could find this yarn, and I looked online, and Stylecraft still does have this line, Head Over Heels, but I couldn't find this same colorway, the Comet colorway, but they do have other colors that are similar. So I will try to link to their website in the description box below if you're interested in this kind of yarn. They do have some colorways that have this same gold glittery thread run through the yarn like this colorway does. So I started off with casting on 60 stitches using US 0 2mm needles. I did 2x1 ribbing for I think 30 rounds. I wanted to get through that color repeat of the green, cream, green, and then when the yarn changed to the red colorway, I switched to plain stockinette. This very cute progress keeper was made for me by my cousin Allie. That's marking where I was last time I recorded, so I finished off the legs. I don't remember how long I knit the legs, but I think I probably did 60 rounds of the legs since I did an extra long cuff. And then I decided to do the heels using the same colorway of yarn. I just started pulling from the inside of my skeins instead of the outside, and did a slip stitch heel flap and gusset, heel turn, gusset for my heels like I normally do. And I like how that turned out. It just kind of repeated the color stripe from right above the heel. And I am just knitting on the foot right now. I haven't picked these up in a while, but I am done with the gusset decreases at this point. So it's pretty easy plain stockinette knitting at this point. And yeah, I really like how they're turning out. The colorway is super fun. I started these on October 1st. This yarn, I should say, is 73% superwash wool, 25% nylon, and 2% polyester for that gold sparkly yarn or thread. Okay, I have 4 more works in progress that are all new works in progress. The first one is being held And this adorable bag, I just love this bag so much. This was gifted to me in a swap a very long time ago, but I love it so much. This is another, the kid-sized classic ribbed hat that I mentioned I just started this morning. For this one, I am holding fingering weight double again, and I have pulled out a bunch of purple and bluey turquoise type colors of yarn. Just a bunch of scraps. So there's not that many less stitches on here. I think it's just 12 less stitches on the kid size compared to the adult small size. But anyway, I really love how this one's coming up already. The colors are so pretty. And this one, like I said, I just started it this morning. I am again holding fingering weight double, and I'm using US 3.25 millimeter needles. Yeah, I guess that's all I have to say for this one. I will probably knit it a little bit longer than what's recommended for the kid size, just like I do for the adult small size. Probably not quite as long as I do for the adult small, but I will have to look at what it recommends, and I'll let you know how I decide to knit this one up. But I'm excited to see how this one turns out with these pretty colors. Like I mentioned, there are a couple of ladies at church that are due to have baby boys this month. And recently, within the last 6 months or so, I have gifted 4 different baby boy blankets to new moms. And so I like to keep a stash of crocheted baby blankets on hand so that I can gift them whenever it is fitting. But I only have 1 left in my stash and I need more. So I've started 2 more baby blankets that are more appropriate for boys than girls, because all the other ones that I have in my stash are pink or purple or something really girly. So I've started 2 new baby blankets. The first one is being held in this beautiful basket that I showed. And this is the knitted one, and it's very rare for me to knit a baby blanket. Like I've mentioned, I prefer to crochet them. But this one I saw recommended on one of the videos that Natalie of Knitty Natty put out. I'm not sure, I haven't caught up with her more recent videos, but she was thinking of knitting a baby blanket for a family member, I believe. And she found some patterns that were designed she recommended 3 baby blanket patterns. They were all designed by the same lady, and I really loved the looks of all of them. And I picked one of those, and it is called the Reversible Blanket Pinwheels. The designer is called Yarn Sonata. And I just loved the looks of this one. I thought it was so beautiful, and something that you really couldn't quite get the same look with a crochet pattern as you could with knitting it. And so I wanted to give this one a try, but this is not going to be a quick project. It's going to take a while, which is why I prefer crocheting baby blankets, because it just works up so much faster. Anyway, I'm using some yarn that, again, my cousin Allie gifted to me. It is Knit Picks Brava Sport Weight, and I'm using the colorway Dove Heather. It is 100% acrylic yarn, but I just love this colorway. I think it's going to be such a classic looking, beautiful blanket, which really could work for a boy or a girl, but it will be great for a boy blanket because that's what I need. Okay, I started this on October 26th. I'm using US 3.25 millimeters. I'm sure stumbling over my words today. I am using US 3.25 millimeter needles for this project. And there are a few different sizes available in this pattern. I am making the size that is supposed to measure 28 by 36 inches. The original pattern calls for DK weight yarn though, and probably a larger needle. I can't remember offhand, but I knit loosely anyway. So I went down to a US 3 because I thought that would be a good fit for the sport weight yarn, and I like the gauge that I'm getting. So anyway, mine is probably not going to turn out to be 28 inches. It's going to be narrower than that probably. But I thought that would be a good size. I was hoping it would turn out to be a good size. And I think it is. I actually could probably put it on a longer cord so that I could stretch it out, but I think it'll be good. It's plenty wide. It might be a little wider than what I would normally have for a baby blanket, but I think it'll work just fine. So in this pattern, as the pattern suggests, it makes this beautiful pinwheel. Oh, just lost a stitch, I think. Oh no, I didn't. Okay, good. It makes this beautiful pinwheel design. And I have just done one repeat of the pinwheel pattern, and that will just be repeated over and over again. And then it has this nice garter stitch border around the edges. So it's a really fun, quite simple pattern. She does recommend that you put stitch markers in between each pattern repeat, which makes it really nice to keep track of where you're at. But it's just knits and purls, and it makes this beautiful pattern that, like the pattern suggests, is reversible, so it looks great on both sides, which is something also unique about knitted blankets. They usually have a right side and a wrong side, but it's nice that this one is reversible. That's another reason why I generally like crocheted blankets, because they don't generally have a right and wrong side. Usually both sides look beautiful, whereas with knitted blankets, a lot of times the back side doesn't look quite as nice as the front side. But anyway, this one does look great on both sides. It looks just the same. So I'm really loving this one, but I haven't been working on it very much because I really need a blanket done this month, and I think this one will take too long, but I am going to continue to work on it, and I'll eventually have it done to add to my stash. But I needed to start another baby boy blanket that I could get done more quickly. So that's what I did. I started another corner to corner baby blanket, which I have done before. I'm just holding it in this thrifted basket. And again, I'm using that same yarn, but in 3 different colorways. So again, it's Knit Picks Brava Sport Weight yarn. And the 3 colorways I'm using are, I think this one's called Sky. Yep. This one is called Alfalfa, which is just such a fun, bright, springy type green, and white. I have 2 skeins of the Sky and the Alfalfa. I only have 1 skein of the white. So that affected the way that I've decided to pattern this blanket. And I've made some good progress on it. Let's see. So I am doing 4 rows of the blue, 1 row of white, 4 rows of the green, and repeating that. Oh, and then 1 more row of white, and then repeating that, so that I can hopefully use up my yarn evenly according to what I have. I did 45 squares across, and that measures, I think, 25 inches or so. And I thought that was a good width for a baby blanket. I'll probably add a border to it, so that'll give it a little bit more width. But I think baby blankets don't need to be that big. I think if they're too big, they kind of get a little bit cumbersome. So I generally like to make my baby blankets around 25 to 30 inches wide. Anyway, I have already squared off this corner, and now I'm just crocheting more length for the baby blanket. So that's what I'm working on, is just adding length to it. And you know, this edge is going to continue with a straight edge, if that makes sense. So it is a corner to corner blanket. You can find free patterns for the corner to corner stitch online. I will try to link to one that is simple online. I do have a pattern booklet that goes through the patterning for the corner to corner blanket, which I refer to when I forget how to do it, but I just really needed to look at it for the very first stitch, and then once I got going, it's easy to memorize once you get going. I am using a 3.5 millimeter hook, and this one is going a lot faster, of course, because it's crochet, but it's not going that quickly because sport weight yarn, isn't that thick. It's got 340 yards for 100 grams. So it's quite a thin yarn. So it isn't growing, amazingly fast, but it's still a lot faster than knitting a blanket. And I can get this done fairly soon, I think. I started this one on October 31st as well. So I think it's turning out really pretty. I love the stripes. I think it's going to look nice when it's all done. Such a fun, enjoyable, easy pattern. I love doing that stitch so much. I just have one more work in progress in this adorable little bag. Well, I did start another pair of mittens, but I've only just cast them on and knit like one row of the ribbing, so I'm not going to share those today, but if I get a chance to work on them before my next video, then I'll share them on my next video. But the last work in progress that I have to share with you, this bag is so adorable. I won it from Jules of So Sweet Violet. She did not make it. And do I have the, maybe I saved the card. Yes, I did. Wonderful. This was made by Carolyn Watts Embroidery. Here is her card. I'm not sure if she still sells bags or not, because I got this bag so long ago, many years ago, but I won it from Jules, mailed it to me. She was gifted this bag, and then I won it in a knit along that she did a long time ago. Anyway, in here I have started another baby project. This is another probably going to be quite a long-term project, though. It probably isn't going to get done super quickly because it is a baby-sized Musselburgh hat, designed by Ysolda Teague, and it is being knit using fingering weight yarn. So it'll take me a while to make it probably. But I had one skein that I thrifted for, it was only $1 for this one skein of Red Heart and Soul yarn, which is it's meant to be a sock yarn. It is, like I said, fingering weight, and I'm pretty sure it's a 75-25 blend. No, 70% superwash wool, 30% nylon blend. And this colorway is called Toasted Almond. So it's kind of a self-striping colorway, and it's working up really cute, I think, in this hat. I think the striping looks great. I think that'll be fun. So I cast this on November 1st. I'm using US 1.5, 2.5 millimeter needles, and I'm making the baby size. I got a gauge of 8 stitches to 1 inch. And yeah, this is just easy knitting in the round at this point because I've done the increases. I did start the hat not using the pinwheel cast on as recommended. I just cast on 8 stitches. Kayla Litton of the Crazy Sock Lady recommended that she tried doing that with this hat pattern, and it works out just fine. Just cast on the number of stitches that is recommended, and then you can close up the beginning hole really easily with the tail that's left over from casting on. So that's what I did. It's a lot easier than doing a pinhole cast on, and it works just fine. I've already sewed my little hole up so you can't even tell. So that works great. Anyway, this is just a great pattern to have on the go. Super simple, mindless project. So that is my last work in progress that I have to share with you all. I hope that you all enjoyed seeing the things that I've been working on lately, and I hope you're really enjoying the things that you're working on as well. Thank you so much for watching today. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.